Before I knew what a wankster was, I said wankster, not a gangster. I didn't know what a wankster was, actually. So I just lied. Sorry, I just lied to y'all. I didn't mean to. I was trying to start this off a different way, and I don't remember which way I was going with that. So, I don't know. Anyway, y'all see my posters in the back. I got the One Piece up, you feel me? I'm a big, caught myself. I'm a big nerd, so usually I got YouTube in the back, but I forget it. Forget about the background. If music ain't in your soul, you can go ahead and, oh, wait. Yeah. Hit the dough. I'm back with another video. This time we're gonna do 50 Cent. So New York, you was up. Last time it was Memphis. It was a great video. I had a good time. It was a lot of music. It was too much music, honestly. I didn't know 3 6 Mafia had that much music. If you want to check out my 3 6 Mafia video, you can click the link above, put it somewhere. I'm gonna put it somewhere up here. OG rapper. We all know 50 Cent. I know 50 Cent. You know 50 Cent. Let's get into this video. All right, so 50 Cent, bro. If you under the age of 13, you know 50 Cent by Power, right? I know 50 Cent from Get Rich or Die Tryin, the movie. Y'all ain't know it was a movie. I ain't talking about 15 Cent from Penny. I ain't talking about 15 Cent from the Penny Proud. From the Proud Family movie.
All right, then. Ponytail. Hit that button right there.
I'll see you tomorrow, Penny.
That's one of the best features in my brain.
Actually, he was in a Proud Family episode. I'm talking about Curtis Jackson. Curtis Jones Jackson. 50 Cent was born on July 6, 1975. 1985, I arrived. So he's 10 years older than J. Cole. I love how I just slid that in there.
What do you mean by that?
Because that's not the point of the video. Formerly with G-Unit, and G-Unit has his longtime friends of Tony Yayo and Lloyd Banks. And I think The Game was partially in it. He did some vocals, but I wouldn't necessarily put him part of G-Unit. G-Unit, I'm familiar with them. I didn't really listen to G-Unit growing up. I did listen to 50 Cent, but G-Unit, I don't know any of their songs, like none of them. So it was brand new to me to hear like all of them together. 50 Cent always promotes G-Unit, but didn't G-Unit have like a clothing line?
You're correct, sir.
He's well known now, like very well known. Power. He has a couple video games, the Get Rich or Die Tryin video game, or Bulletproof. I used to play Bulletproof on PS2. I want to say it was PS2. I never had a PlayStation a day in my life until now. I have a PS4. I've always been an Xbox guy, so I never played. I always played the PS2 when I went to my cousin's house. My cousin had a PS2, and then I went to somebody else's house to play the PS3. So I never had a PlayStation until now.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
Jerry.
So he has video games. He has the Get Rich or Die Tryin movie, which was actually a good movie, and he plays the main character. Actually, it wasn't called Get Rich or Die Tryin, a video game. It was called Blood on the Sand. They was actually busting, bro. They was actually busting. I'm not gonna lie. 50 Cent has 7 albums. If you include the 2 G-Unit albums, he has 5 solo albums. Well, if you don't know, Get Rich or Die Tryin is his first commercial album. It has Many Men. It had PIMP. It had In the Club. It has 21 Questions. It has a bunch of bangers on the album. So everybody knows, if you know those songs and you know 50 Cent made them, then you know it's a banging album. He also has the Massacre. He also has Curtis. He has Before I Self-Destruct, and his last solo album, which was Animal Ambition. And then his G-Unit albums, he has Beg for Mercy, and then he has TOS, Terminate on Sight. So there's a total of 7 albums. If you don't know by now, I rank these albums out of a total of 60 points. There are 6, sometimes 5 categories that I base the albums off of. You have the track list / flow, the bars, the intro / outro, the hook / chorus, the production, and sometimes we do the features. This time for 50 Cent, we're going to do the features. So instead of the total being out of 50, it's going to be out of 60. And then it goes from worst to best. I always go from worst album to best album based on the score. Based on the score. The score is based off my personal opinion. So if you're mad about this list, too bad. Make your own list. I like 50 Cent. I would say he's in my top 30 of best rappers of all time. Of course. Of course. If you are a hip hop fanatic just like me, you can subscribe to the channel. And if you like content like this, you can like the channel. Curtis is his worst studio album. So Curtis came out in 2007. It went platinum and it was 56 minutes. The track list I ranked it a 3.5 out of 10. The bars was a 3. The intro / outro was a 1. The hook / chorus was a 4. The features was an 8.5 out of 10. And the production was a 3.5 out of 10. He got a total score of 23.5 out of 60. The most popular song on this album was Ayo Technology, featuring Justin Timberlake and Timbaland, which had 239 million views on YouTube. My favorite song on the album was I'll Still Kill, featuring Akon. So Curtis was the worst album, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. This was, and I posted this on my Instagram, and I'll put my Instagram somewhere in this video. So this album was, I called it on Instagram, this is when techno meets 50 Cent. So there was a lot of techno beats as far as listening to it. Ayo Technology, of course, was a really techno beat. If you remember that song, it's a really big song that came out in 2000. I think it did come out in 2007 or 6. Timbaland is a legend. He's a legendary producer, so he can pretty much make anything. Now, this album got an 8.5 out of 10 for its features because it had Akon, Robin Thicke. I said Justin Timberlake. I said Timbaland. It had Eminem again, Young Buck, Mary J. Blige, and Tony Yayo, and some other people. Love the features on this album. It makes the album more balanced. Now, it got a lower score because 50 Cent has used Eminem as a feature before on other albums. This is his third studio. He's had him on Get Rich or Die Tryin. He's had him. I think he had him on the Massacre as well. But Eminem's he's still that dude. Eminem's still him. So I'm not disappointed by Eminem. It's just he's used them before, so I made the score a little lower because of that. Now, I'll Still Kill. Akon is still one of the greatest musicians I've ever heard. He's still a solid, as he always has been. I really like his hook on I'll Still Kill, and that's why I like the song a lot. It has songs like Amusement Park on the album. Peep Show was on here. Curtis 187 was on here. My Gun Go Off. It's a solid album. Unfortunately, it's the worst album. G Unit's second album, TOS, Terminate on Sight, is the next best album. It came out in 2008 and it was 59 minutes. The track list was a 4. The bars was a 3.5. The intro and outro was a 6.5. The hook / chorus was a 3.5. The features was a 3. And the production was a 4. It got a total score of 24.5 out of 60. The most popular song on the album was Rider Part 2. It had 4.5 million views. But my favorite song on the album was Close to Me. I just gotta say, the intro of the song, Straight Outta Southside, it's an honor to NWA. Yeah, obviously, Straight Outta Southside, Straight Outta Compton, it's an honor to NWA. I think from hearing this, G Unit looked up the NWA as an influential group. Maybe not, or maybe they just wanted to pay homage to MWA because they are a big group. Close to Me, I really like the hook. Now, this album started off real strong. It was flowing good, and then once it got to I Like the Way She Do It, it started to go downhill. I didn't like it after that, even though I did like Party Ain't Over and Ready or Not. Really good songs. Outro I would say the outro was good, but Kitty Cat didn't like it. Let It Go had Movado, but Get Down didn't like it. The features, I mean, it's G Unit mostly, so I really can't say, okay, features had an unfair advantage for G Unit albums, but they still had Movado, they had Young Buck. It is what it is, but that's the next best album. 50 Cent's second studio album, The Massacre, is the next best album. Massacre came out in 2005. It went 6 times. I'll say it again. It went 6 times platinum, but it was an hour and 18 minutes. It was a pretty long album. I think it was 50 Cent's longest album, but it was his sophomore album, so he had a little bit more to say, which is fine. Tracklist was a 4, bars was a 4, intro/outro was a 2, and that's probably what killed it the most. Hook/chorus was a 4, features was a 6, production was a 5. It got a total score of a 25 out of 60. The most popular song on this album was Just a Little Bit. It had 491 million views. My favorite song was I'm Supposed to Die Tonight. What can I say about this album? Long album, like I said. Couple songs that I liked right off the top was My Toy Soldier, A Baltimore Love Thing, Get in My Car. Get in My Car, if you haven't heard the song already, Get in My Car is the instrumental for Need It with Migos. It's the same instrumental. I knew I heard it before, but I was like, where have I heard this before? And I went back into my catalog because I'm hip hop fanatic, and I was like, oh, this is Needed by Migos. Oh, and Gatman and Robin featuring Eminem was just a play on the original Batman song, which that's very genius. I like the song, but it wasn't my favorite song on the album. This album had Candy Shop, which was a very big song. It had Disco Inferno, which was a very big song. My Toy Soldier was huge. It had Hater to Love It on it, but it was the G Unit remix, and I expected it to be the Game remix. I expected the Game to be on it and not G Unit. But that was the last song on the album. The intro was literally just a massacre, and it's very off-putting, but it's so for the album because it is a massacre. I'm Supposed to Die Tonight. I just like the melody of it. First studio album, Get Rich or Die Tryin, is the next best album. Not the movie, the album. This album came out in 2003. This is his freshman album. This album was 9 times platinum, and it was 58 minutes long. The track list was a 5 out of 10. Bars was a 5. Unfortunately, the intro and the outro was a 0. The hook/chorus was a 5. The features was a 6.5. And the production was a 4.5. It got a total score of 26 out of 60. The most popular song on the album was In the Club, and it got 1.7 billion, yes, billion, views on YouTube. And my favorite song was Many Men. Many men. Many men wish death upon me, dog. I don't cry no more. Don't look to the sky no more. Have mercy on me. Have mercy on my soul. Come on, man. 21 Savage did his own Many Men version and sampled the song. It was on Savage Mode 2. I knew I was going to get it. This is a very popular album. So I want to talk about why the intro/outro was a 0. It's because the intro wasn't really an intro. It was just, I don't know what it was. It really wasn't an intro. It segued into the next song, which is What Up Gangsta. So I was disappointed. The outro wasn't bad, but it just didn't feel like an outro. So the features was a 6.5 because, okay, this is the first time he used Eminem and Young Buck and Tony Yayo and had Nate Dogg and Lloyd Banks. Unfortunately, not every feature performed as well as they could have. Of course, Eminem on Patiently Waiting, I didn't understand when people were like, yeah, M killed 50 Cent on his own song. I didn't understand until I heard the song. And I was like, oh, wow, M did kill 50 Cent on his own song. But this is an iconic album. Of course it is. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's bad. It's not good altogether. I don't identify good albums with singles, even though it has Many Men, it has In the Club, it has PIMP, it has 21 Questions, it has hits on the album, but I don't dignify singles as making it the best album. It has to be the whole album, bro. It has to be the entire album. Most of the songs on the album. Of course, the songs that I already knew that are big singles, I already knew those songs. So I try not to be biased about it. I really critiqued what I heard as far as Get Rich or Die Tryin. I want the list to be genuine. I just don't want it to be biased, even though it is my list. Beg for Mercy is the next best album. Beg for Mercy came out in 2003. It went 2 times platinum and it was an hour and 10 minutes. The track list was a 5.5. The bars was a 3.5. The intro slash outro was a 3.5. The hook slash chorus was a 5.5. The features was a 4. And the production was a 5. It got a total score of a 26.5. 26.5 out of 60. This also tied with another album. The most popular song on this album was Poppin' Them Things, and it got 123 million views. And I don't have a favorite song on this album, actually. As a whole, this is the introduction of G Unit. So it was really good as far as figuring out who 50 was, who Lloyd Banks is, who Tony Yayo is. They all have different styles of rapping. I'll be honest, I really only heard 50 Cent on this album because I'm doing a 50 Cent video. So I did hear Lloyd Banks and I do respect Lloyd Banks as a rapper. I don't know much about Lloyd Banks, so that would be another video in the future. I would love to do Lloyd Banks. Pause. Wait a minute. Check it out. That's not. I would love to listen to Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo for that matter. But I just focus more on 50 Cent. And 50 Cent didn't do all that bad. Towards the end of the album, it got kind of sketchy. Didn't really like the end of it. I enjoyed this album. I enjoyed it more than TOS. This is the album that shows you who G Unit is. And I think they did a good job. I'm be honest, y'all might hate me for this. And you might say this list is cap. You might say this whole video is cap. But hear me out. I have a reason why it's like this. His last studio album before he went all commercial, he did Power and all the other stuff and became a billionaire. I think he's a billionaire. Animal Ambition is the next best album.
Stop the cap.
This album is also tied with Beg for Mercy. This album came out in 2014 and it was 39 minutes long. Wait, before you be like, whoa, 39 minutes and it's that high? Wait, let me get through it before I start talking about it. Let me get through it. So the track list was a 2. The bars was a 4.5. Intro slash outro was 2.5. Hook slash chorus was a 4. Features was 8.5. Production was a 5. Total score was 26.5 out of 60. It tied with Beg for Mercy. The most popular song on this album was Hustler, and it comes up as Hustler's Ambition on YouTube. It got 85 million views. And then my favorite song on the album was Irregular Heartbeat. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. And Irregular Heartbeat had Jadakiss and Kid on it. But Kid actually had a good verse on Irregular Heartbeat. And then Jadakiss is Jadakiss. If you don't know Jadakiss is Jadakiss. So that man can rap. Jadakiss is, I gotta make a top 30. I gotta put Jadakiss in there. Jadakiss can rap. For real. So you're probably thinking like, how is this album so high when it's only 39 minutes? I think it's because it's so short that it got higher on the list because it is so short. If that makes sense. Like the features got an 8.5. Because he has like solid features. He's got Gotti, he's got Trey Songz, he's got Jadakiss, Kid, he's got Prodigy on there. And he had this what song is that? He had on Winter Circle. He had good vocals by this dude named Gordon Banks, and I've never heard of him before. It was good vocals. I enjoyed that song, and it's the 10th song on the album. So I think that's why I got such a high score, was because the features really carried it above everything else. It was mostly features on this album. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 songs on this album that doesn't have a feature. There's 11 songs on the album. You do the math. 8 songs have features. So of course the features carry this because there was a lot of features, and the features weren't just a lot of features. The features were good. Don't flame me up in the comments saying this is not a good album. This is not a good album. I understand. It's the features that carried it. Honestly, it's the features that carried this album. It's okay. In my opinion, it's okay. But as far as a whole album, it's got a 26.5 out of 60. It's pretty high. It's actually the second best album that 50 Cent has to offer. Before I Self-Destruct, 50 Cent's best studio album. This album came out in 2009. It went gold. It was an hour and 4 minutes. The track list got a 5. Bars has a 4.5. The intro / outro was a 4. Hook / chorus was a 4.5. The features was a 6. And production was a 5. It got a total score of 29 out of 60. It was almost half. The most popular song on the album was Baby by Me, of course. And it got 132 million views on YouTube. It features Neo. And I didn't really have a favorite song on this album. What can I say about Before I Self-Destruct? When I first listened to this album, and I knew a lot more songs on this album than I thought I knew. So I must have listened to it before, like years ago, and it just popped back up in my head. I was like, oh, I know this song. Oh, I know this song. I know this song. The flow of the album was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. For the first 9 songs of the album, I enjoyed the album. It gets kind of wonky when it gets to like 11 and 12, but it picks back up when it gets to Baby by Me at 13, and then it goes to Do You Think About Me, and then it goes to Okay, You're Right. And it just goes on from there. The intro was an actual intro, and it's called The Invitation. So it was an actual song that was an introductory to this album, which you don't have to have a song, but you have to have some sort of intro for me to designate it as a good intro. 50 Cent was in his bag in this album. I'm sorry. I said what I said. 50 Cent was in his bag on this album. And of course, he had features like Eminem again, Neo. He had R. Kelly. This is before, I guess this is before R. Kelly got into this, we ain't gonna talk about it. We don't talk about R. Kelly. I still listen to his music. We just don't talk about R. Kelly. I think this is his best album because all the songs on there are just what I think about when I think about 50 Cent as a rapper.